Aha! Hello, 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 ladies, gentlemen, and everyone in between. How the hell are ya? Yes, I am the Lavender Pincushion, and this is Coffee with Lavender. And with me is the one, the only, the brilliant, the beautiful, the bionic dance, Kate Farr. Hello, my love. How are you?
I'm all right, I suppose. Life's been life, this, that, and the other thing. Ah, gosh. Struggling with getting back up to speed on 3DS Max now that I've upgraded, like usual. Really, not a lot has happened.
Oh my word. Now, you've upgraded 3DS Max. Is that the one you have to rent now?
Everything is.
Oh my word. It's just too bad you can't use an old one.
Well, I mean, I could potentially use an old one, but it would be a lot of hoop jumping, and it would not work with a lot of plugins and things. It just wouldn't be worth it.
Okay. It just I don't know, it irks me that they're just trying to find new ways of getting more money out of nothing really. They're not inventing anything new. They're just doing
Yeah, that
the
bug.
hmm?
Yeah, that bugs me too.
I mean, the least they could do is come up with a new feature or something.
Well, they do. Seriously, like what I'm using now is much more advanced than what I was using when I made Quinn Redshift. It really is. There's a lot of things that I just couldn't do with the old version of 3ds Max that I was using. Like it just wasn't even possible. So it's kind of a toss up between how much do I want to spend and like how much do I want to create the art that I want to create using a system I already know. Honestly, when I discovered they had an El Cheapo version for independent creators and it was like 250 something a year, I was like, that's less gougy than it was when they wanted like hundreds per year, like multiple hundred, maybe even up into the like 1,500 or some crazy shit like that. Where it's like the professional version, which is no different than the El Cheapo version. It's just you if you're a corporation, that's the version you have to buy. It's sort of like they do with some of those gaming engines, where it's like we're not really going to charge you extra until what you're making cracks a certain tens of thousands of dollars kind of thing, right?
Okay.
So when they came out with that El Cheapo version, I was like, it's worth it. I looked at Blender and I was like, I'm kind of starting from square one here, aren't I? This doesn't work at all the way 3ds Max does. Like, really, the only thing it has in common is geometry. So I was like, it's worth it, really. It just was to me.
Mm.
Okay. I mean, as long as you're not giving up breakfast.
New.
Yeah, I've been trying to switch to GIMP from Paint Shop Pro, and I just can't seem to get the transition right. So it's just the way it operates is so different.
Okay,
Mm.
now I've been using GIMP for years, so it's second nature to me, basically. It's just a interesting name they came up with.
It's probably an acronym.
It is
Well, that
uh,
explains it.
new image manipulation program.
Uh,
Oh, and if I end up coughing or sniffling in everybody's ear, I apologize ahead of time. I've got really bad allergies right now.
mm. Well, just as long as you don't do what Diana does and do the with your finger right into the microphone.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember to mute when I need to do something.
Yeah.
Oh man, I don't miss those days. I didn't have the spring allergies. I had the fall allergies. But God, they were debilitating.
I get like the fall allergies here in Vermont, but Claritin actually helps a great deal. Like it really does. I used to have, oh gosh, I forget what it was. There was an anti allergy drug like way back in the 80s that I was taking, and it did basically nothing. Right?
Okay.
Basically nothing. And this Claritin stuff, like I didn't have allergies on the West Coast. I come back here to Vermont like an idiot. And yeah, fall rolls around. I start getting all stuffy. I start taking Claritin for the first time, and I'm like, holy shit, this worked.
Yeah, unfortunately,
Oh.
Claritin doesn't work for me. I've tried it.
I kept contact in business. I don't know. Is that stuff still around?
I don't know.
With the thousands of tiny time pills?
I really don't know. I haven't gone looking.
Yeah, the only one that seems to work for me is Allegra, but that one will knock me out.
Oh my. Okay, let's see what we've got here. Cold, flu, and allergy medicine. Oh, yay. Moo.
Okay. And now to change how their fleets look. I have no idea how many. I forget if we talked about this before or after, whatever, with the show. I'm fucking around in Galactic Civilizations 4, and I'm trying to create, like, from the ground up, a scenario with like alien races custom designed to either cooperate or be at each other's throats or whatever. And right now I'm messing around with the fleets of the race that's sort of like all technological and crap.
Oh, yeah.
Like maybe not so much the Borg, maybe closer to the Kalon from the Orville.
Oh, that
I'll
sounds like
take your
fun.
word for it.
Galactic Civilizations 4, right?
Yeah, that's the one. It's nifty, but sometimes it gets really frustrating because, like the aliens will declare war at the drop of a hat out of nowhere, and it's like, why did you just do that? You know?
Okay.
It makes no sense sometimes. It's like, we were getting along. What did I do? Kind of thing. That's one of the reasons why, like, someday I'm gonna download one of those engines and see if I can make a game like this, but with a much stronger focus on storytelling. Because dealing with alien species and these things, it's like dealing with a spreadsheet that has an avatar. It's just so totally not in any way like it doesn't give that Babylon 5 or Star Wars feel to it. You don't get to know these aliens. That's what I really want to try to do, is to build personalities into the aliens you face. So that, like, when you deal with them, it's like opening up a comm link and having a conversation rather than just, oh, let me click on these things I want to offer you in a trade deal. Whoopee doo. It's something I've been wanting to do for ages, and someday I'll pull the trigger on it. I don't know.
Maybe somebody wiped their mouth with a napkin holding it in their left hand, which was a declaration of war to them or something.
Well, that actually is a pet peeve of mine about a lot of science fiction. Like, the Orville did this, but it's much worse on shows like Star Trek, where they meet a new alien species, and this alien species is like really xenophobic or very traditional or whatever. They've got some very strong opinions about things. And so they decide, okay, we're going to pretend to be like them until we gain their trust by lying to them, apparently. And they decide to be friends with us. I'm just sitting there going, okay, so what happens when they find out that you've been lying to them this whole time and, you're not really a matriarchal society or whatever? What happens then?
At least they addressed that in the Orville.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's just it's one of those sore points for me where I'm like, why would you guys think that presenting a false face to this new species will endear you to them? It's mind boggling.
Oh my.
I mean, I realize I'm a little bit overthinking, but still,
Oh, that's okay. Just a little bit.
you know.
It's just interesting to me that humans are just one of a very, 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 very few species that actually practices deceit. I mean, what have you got? Humans, you've got chimps.
Well, I mean, I guess it depends on how you define deceit.
Yeah, I can think of plenty of critters that deceive.
I mean, like, is it deceit to camouflage yourself until prey comes close enough to just pounce on it?
I don't
'Cause
know. That's an interesting thought. Yeah, I'd not really considered that.
I mean, because how many species do that? Yet the thing that sort of looks like the bottom of the sea burrows into the sand. A guppy gets just a little too close. I mean,
Oh my. Now you've got me thinking I've got to do a documentary on the art of deceit.
okay. I don't know. I did a video once explaining that I thought most humor is actually like at its core based on pain, and I got a lot of pushback on that, but I still stand by it.
Okay, I can see your point.
I mean, how often have you seen someone laugh in a moment of great distress?
Yeah, yeah.
Laughter is a release.
Yeah.
And sometimes we have like we will actually inflict pain on ourselves in order to experience that release.
Yeah, in fact, I was writing a story on it's like sort of a zombie apocalypse kind of scenario, and one of the
Uh-huh.
characters handles all the stress and everything of the situation with humor.
There you go.
Oh God.
It's just one of those things I've often thunked about.
Yeah, it's just kind of something I was thinking about. Is usually when you see these zombie apocalypse things, everybody's humorless. You're always so serious and dealing with all the stress and anxiety. But people actually do deal with that kind of situation with humor sometimes.
Yep.
So why not have a character that actually handles stress that way? I was actually kind of picturing him sort of like Ash from Evil Dead, in a way.
Sure. Hail to the chief, baby.
Oh my. Oh my. Peanuts.
Buh.
Yes. I
Yeah,
has.
no, it's unpack, please. What are you getting at?
Oh, peanuts.
That reminds me, I bought some raw peanuts to plant in my garden.
Oh,
Toasted peanuts.
so we're being literal, are we?
Mm-hmm.
Well, you could have meant the comic strip.
Oh, that's what I can do. I can put the peanuts.
Mm.
It's replacing my radishes, so I have a nice whole bed of peanuts.
I can put the lime in the coconut.
Hmm.
I got some seeds and I've got some seed trays and I'll have to see if I can't grow some food.
Are you saying that you're a little bit seedy?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Oh man, I'd like to have some trailing cherry tomatoes.
Okay.
So I could reach out the window and pick a few cherry tomatoes and have them with cottage cheese.
You know, we've had the conversation about cottage cheese before, and I don't think we have to have it again, but let me just reiterate ew.
I like the Everglade tomatoes.
Everglade tomatoes?
Yeah, they're little tiny itty bitty tomatoes and they have a really good flavor to them.
Mm.
Hmm. Okay, did I just. No. Okay. I thought I saw something and I didn't.
And I want to be trying out these spoon tomatoes I've got.
Spoon!
Yeah, they're even tinier tomatoes. According to the picture, it shows like a regular tablespoon and it has like full of tomatoes.
I don't know. I am so indifferent to tomatoes. My
Shop.
goodness, Roger that cat with a Q-tip already.
Hey, yo.
Especially since clearly Xander's getting a Wiggins from that.
Oh, my.
No. A Wiggins means he's creeped out.
Mm.
I realize that you've probably never watched Buffy the Vampire Slayer, so I figured I'd better clarify.
You are correct.
See, I know things.
Well, yeah.
I'm
Name a film
smart.
or a television show or whatever, and you can be fairly certain I've never seen it.
That's true. Like, Casablanca, you've never seen that.
Oh, my. I'm trying to remember. Have I?
I was surprised that I enjoyed that movie. Like, genuinely, I thought I'd hate it.
Yeah, I can see why you might think that.
But it turned out to be not bad. I mean, imagine, right?
Mm-hmm.
But no, I mean, there have been a bunch of movies where I watch it and I'm like, that was very different than what I'd been led to believe, and it was better than I was led to believe. So, I mean, it doesn't happen often. A lot of times my assumptions are exactly correct. But not every time.
Oh, my.
Yeah.
Where?
Oh, where has my little dog gone? What?
Where did I put my eggshells and vinegar?
In the garbage, I hope.
Well, there's a medication I have to take. Calcium acetate.
And you take it with eggshells and vinegar for some reason?
Oh, you can prepare it from eggshells and vinegar.
Wait, is this a medication you were prescribed or is it just a medication you take?
I was actually prescribed it.
Then what are you doing? Like, I don't understand why you're preparing it. Are you saying there's a home brew or is there something you're supposed to do according to your doctor?
Well, according to my doctor, I'm supposed to take some of this stuff to bind the phosphorus in the food that I eat.
Yeah, I think I was really asking about the method of delivery, but okay.
The method of delivery is capsules with calcium acetate powder.
Then
Yes,
why are you dipping it in vinegar?
she's is talking about a homebrew version. It's basically you can make the same thing using eggshells and vinegar.
Okay, see, that was the information I was after.
Okay, then. And yeah, it's a whole bunch of fun. Um, it's amazing, though, how much the kidneys do. You don't even think, but they do. There's so much that they do that when they fail, there's so much that goes wrong, and you're scrambling all around trying to make up for it.
Well, like what?
Well, for example, it regulates the amount of phosphorus that circulates around in the body because if there's too much or if there's too little, all sorts of horrible things can happen.
Well,
And
actually, that's what I was really asking about was the consequences.
okay, you can get problems with the bones, for example, if there's too much phosphorus
And not
circulating around.
and not enough can actually cause joint inflammation.
Yes. And
Okay,
it's
see,
very
it's just
painful
not
when
right that the word inflammation immediately brings to mind that Monty Python song. Because it starts, inflammation of the foreskin reminds me of your smile. That, it starts like that. And, you know,
okay, then.
well, I mean, that's the thing is I tend to live in a world of constant associations. It's very occasionally frustrating, because it's like one of the situations where it's like, brain, shut up. Oh my gosh, shut up. Enough.
Oh my. I would probably want to kill myself. Well, I do anyway, but that's beside the point.
No, but I mean, like seriously, it's the number of times I hold back something that I think is funny to say simply because I know, no, well, number one, even if people get the reference, because they might not, since it's several layers deep, like buried under context, but also like that a lot of people don't appreciate the constant addition of weird little references. It's not quite info dumping, but it might be humor dumping,
Okay.
if that makes sense.
Hmm.
I don't know. It's just a thing. I do on occasion wonder if I'm pissing off the people around me. And also assessing whether or not I should care.
No, I don't think you're pissing off people around you.
You'd be surprised.
Hmm.
No, I mean, it's weird to me because, like, there are some people who cannot stand the way I approach the world, the way I say things, the way I do things, like how I express myself, that kind of thing. Some people just can't stand it. Other people love it. It's like, seriously, there are some people out there where they're like, I want Kate around all the time because she says the best things. Which I don't quite get, but hey, more power to them. And so, like, it's just, well, I don't know. It's weird. Like, why am I totally floating some people's ducky and other people I'm blasting theirs with a shotgun? I don't get it.
Hmm. I haven't blasted anything with a shotgun in a very long time.
I never have. Actually, the only actual like non-laser tag or paintball related firearm I've ever fired is a 22 pistol. And I'm not sure I've held more than one other gun besides that.
Hello, Skits.
What? Oh, skits. Okay, gotcha.
Oh, Skitsy, hi. Oh my. I used to do some skeet shooting years and years and years ago.
It is so easy. Like right here in this blank, it says leader name. And for whatever reason, probably because I'm a complete child, the first thing that came to my mind was Felch Face. And I'm like, I'm not naming an alien leader that, not in this game. I mean, just no.
Name him Taserface.
Taser Face?
Yeah.
Why?
What, Guardians of Galaxy 2?
It's been a while.
Yeah.
I remember the first one better.
That was the running joke of one of the characters' names.
Oh.
I am Taserface, and everybody starts laughing at him.
I don't know. That'll do.
I have to go to the grocery store today. I think I'll pick up some Allegro when I'm out there.
Well, I actually went out to the supermarket several times in the last few days because there was a winter storm warning in effect. And really, like the last winter storm warning, I swear they said it was like, temperature, like not about the actual precipitation or wind or anything. It was just going to be that cold, right? But this one was seriously snow dumped pretty hard on our town. To the point where there was a parking ban in effect because they had to plow the roads and any car that was parked was going to get buried, right? So, I mean, that's how bad it was. Although it's weird because, like, sure, around about 10 a.m., it was a complete and total snowpocalypse, but it wasn't cold. In fact, it was ever so slightly above freezing, right? And so by noon, like seriously, only 2 hours, it was pure slush, not even ice, just slush, And granted, sidewalks and curbs were still piled like shin high, but still, I mean, it's the storm warning was not as bad as I was led to believe it would be. And so, much like when the pandemic started, I have a little bit of a surplus in groceries at the moment.
Okay.
Not as bad. I mean, it's like, gee, an extra box of Golden Grams. Go, Kate, but still.
Oh man, now you're making me hungry for Triscuits.
Triscuits? You got Triscuits from Golden Grams?
Or they're both crackers.
No, they're not. Golden Grams is cereal.
Oh, okay.
Graham crackers are crackers. Golden Grams is a brand of cereal.
Well, I'm still hungry for Triscuits.
I like to get the Cookie Crisp for something to just munch on.
I've done that a couple of times. There are cereals that are good. Well, hell, Chex Mix, am I right?
Always.
Yeah, that'll work too.
But no, I mean, I can totally see that with Cookie Crisp. Someday I'll have to try that. I don't know. Although when it comes to chocolate chip cookies, I prefer the chewy, squishy kind to the ones that crumble into dust.
Okay.
I just like that sort of like you bite into it and you can bend it and pull it away from your mouth and it's all chewy like chewing gum. It's great. I love it.
Yeah, those are good. Especially when they're just freshly baked.
Well, I haven't done that in ages.
Well, yeah, it's been a while, but you can buy like, what you call it, Chips Ahoy or whatever. And they have like the soft and chewy ones in the store. And they're just as good too. They really are. In fact, maybe it's because I was raised by hippies who loved whole wheat everything, but store bought has always, to me, been better than homemade. Always. And maybe I'm biased. Maybe I'm a little prejudiced against homemade stuff because I'm used to having, like, oh, yeah, it's a cookie, but we put twigs and berries in it for whatever reason. You know, I mean, I'm sorry, but I don't want that. And so I'd rather have like a McDonald's burger than any kind of homemade burger. I'd rather have Chips Ahoy than any kind of home recipe of cookies. Except for, actually, no, I take that back though. My mom used to make these really good gingerbread men back in the day. I asked her about it recently and she does not remember where the recipe is. I'm a little cranky about that. I think it might just be in the joy of cooking. I'm not sure. But regardless, I mean, I have happy memories of those particular gingerbread men.
Yeah, here's some cookies, but it's made with whole wheat and bean sprouts.
Ugh,
Oh my word.
vomit.
Now you got me thinking about Eddie Murphy and Welfare Burger.
Okay.
Yeah,
Is that the one where he's dancing around? I got McDonald's. I got that one?
Yeah, huh?
Okay, I know that sketch, sure.
Oh man, yeah. Talking about homemade.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Jeez. The only thing I don't like about Galactic Civilizations 4 is that you encounter other alien races way too quickly. Like, there seems to be no way. You can create the giganticest galaxy that has ever been seen, put one other alien race in there, and they're maybe 1 or 2 sectors away in a 20 some sector galaxy every time. There's no way to say, like, dude, much further away. I want to encounter them like almost at the end game. Okay. It's not a thing.
Mm-hmm.
So it's the only thing I would probably change.
Moo.
Sure. Yeah, I don't have a lot else to say. Like I said, nothing much has happened recently besides that storm. I mean, okay, sure, I got some weed and I switched it up from indica to sativa, but other than that, I mean, sativa's not bad, but I really like the more sort of surreal quality of indica. I can still sort of get a body high from sativa, but it's not quite the same as indica. Just saying.
Boy, it's been a very, very long time for me. Not that I have the money to blow.
Sorry. But, well, yeah, I guess. I don't know.
Oh my.
Yeah. Oh, Xander's being all cute on the floor over there. It's very adorable.
So I see Shadow Kitty's going paintballing in a couple of weeks.
Yeah. It's been a long time, and most of what I remember is that it's really hard to be accurate with those things, and also that when you get hit with one, it hurts like a son of a bitch.
Yeah, well, I could imagine those paintballs are what, about an inch in diameter?
give or take. And they're traveling pretty quickly. Like, as much as it's hard to aim them, or at least maybe I had a shitty gun the 2 times I went, I don't know. But they drop pretty quickly. Let's just put it that way. Their range is kind of shite. But
Okay.
if you get hit by one, it's going fast enough that it will leave a circular welt.
So you're supposed to wear a padded jacket or something?
Oh yeah, you wear armor big time, and like face masks and everything. But
Okay.
even so, if it hits anything, it's at least gonna sting.
Okay.
I'm just saying, it's not really for the faint of heart, or at least not for the complete wuss bag.
I've never been paintballing.
Mm. Well, it's like laser tag for masochists.
I've never paintballed either.
Uh, I don't know. Also, it's not cheap.
Yeah, I've priced it.
Yeah. I mean, it'd be nice if it was cheap, but it's not cheap.
Yeah,
Oh my.
there was one gun I kind of wish I could have gotten to get into paintballing. It was a replica of the guns from Aliens.
Oh, an M41A pulse rifle? That's like
Yeah,
one of my favorite designs.
yeah, it was that design, but it was a paintball gun.
Nice. I've like I they made a Nerf version of it, which is apparently pretty crap, and they made it like orange and yellow. So I guess if you really wanted to make it look like an actual M41A pulse rifle, you'd have to paint it or something. But still, it looks pretty cool. And like I said, I just love that visual design. There's something like familiar and yet wildly different about it. It's hard to explain.
Yeah,
But yeah. But I wasn't even necessarily talking about buying a paintball gun. Some like even if you just rent one, the like the paintballs themselves are not cheap. Or
What
at
are
least
you talking, a
they
dollar
weren't
each?
when I went there. Well, not each, but still like the tube of them was crazy pants expensive.
Oh my.
Yeah.
yeah,
I mean,
paintball.
maybe prices have come down. That happens, like where something's new and holy shit, you want me to pay how much? Like remember when VCRs were just like a bajillion dollars?
Oh yeah.
I
Yeah.
imagine the prices probably haven't gone down all that much, considering how everything's being price gouged. There's the hell nowadays.
Well, maybe, but I mean, point being that like it's not cheap. So
Yeah, even back in the day, just to get the equipment could easily drop $1,000 and still not have everything.
yeah.
Mm-hmm. I remember paying what I think was $600 for a VCR from Finger Hut.
Is Fingerhut a real thing, or are you doing one of those Squall Mart deals again?
No, it's a real thing.
Okay.
It's for people who have shit credit, and you can buy stuff on time.
Oh, okay. Like a layaway sort of deal.
Sort of, yeah.
All right.
And
Fair enough.
they're based in central Minnesota, right up where Purple lives.
Okay.
Oh, they have a website. Get the credit you deserve. Start shopping now.
Stupid squirrels. Yeah, it turns out I misinterpreted something, and now I have to redo it.
Remove the
There.
ship stuff.
You don't say.
No, I don't.
Okay. All right, one last edit, and then I can see about running this scenario and whether or not it's any freaking good.
It's going to be horrible.
Presumably. And I guess another question,
Yes, dear.
which race do I play now that I've created, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of them? Which one do I play, I wonder?
The one that's most Kate.
Ooh, key. That doesn't help. I guess that would have to be the League of Independent Worlds then.
Well, how about the one that's most likely to destroy the universe?
Oh, well, that would be the Tex 1138 Collective. See, I put TECHS instead of THX, the Tex 1138 Collective.
Okay.
That's the robot race, right? They're sort of the bad guys because robot races always are. I'd love to shake that up sometime in, like, say, a sci-fi story where, like the alien race that happens to be all robots is benevolent as hell for whatever reason. Like, I don't know if they were just programmed to be servants and they never really shook it off, or if they just really don't care about expansionism or something. I mean, I don't know. But it'd be really cool to see, a bunch of machines that sort of look like Cylons or Terminators who are actually really nice guys,
Yeah. I've had that idea before, yeah.
Yeah. So I guess, let's see. I have the funky plant race. I have the silicon-based bug race. Of course, you have to have a silicon-based whatever. I'll just play the League of Independent Worlds.
Oh my.
Okay.
Dayu.
Yeah.
Oh God. Oh my word.
Which word would that be?
Bird.
Ah. So not to your mother or up G homie.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. There.
Don't
There
you
we go.
know about the bird? Well,
Yeah.
everybody knows that the bird is a word. Bird.
Okay. We know the song. Stop it.
Don't ever do that again.
Yeah. But it's funny, like the humans in this scenario I've come up with, they're actually the Earthling Alliance. It's the URFLING, Earthling.
All right.
Yeah, well, why not? And the funny thing is, you can actually set this game up with like 69, up to 69 different alien species on the map at once. Given how big the map is, that actually could work out, but it'd be so chaotic, you have no idea. But I mean, it really would be nice to have everything more spread out than it is. Well. We'll see how it goes. The problem is that, like every other scenario I've played so far, like one alien species just ends up declaring war on everybody. And so I'm trying to set it up so that declaring war is a very occasional, nay, rare freak occurrence kind of thing.
Good luck.
Well, I mean, you'd have a point if this were not a video game. Do you see what I'm saying?
Mm.
So I really should look at the chat a bit more.
I haven't seen it in a while. I haven't see what's going on.
Not much going on. Just a Shadow Kitty saying they're gonna go paintballing.
I used to be part of a laser tag club back in Seattle. This was a long time ago. I mean, we're talking 2002, 2003, give or take.
Okay.
You know, it was a lot of fun. I made some really good friends. In fact, that was the gateway to meeting the girl I started crushing on, who subsequently shoved me into the goth community.
Okay.
Yeah. So, I mean, it's funny looking back and realizing how many things that happened depended on so many other things that happened. It's crazy.
Yeah.
Like there are times where I'm going, I really wish my life had turned out a little bit differently, but if it hadn't gotten to this point, it would have turned out too differently.
Yeah. Okay.
See, that was the thing you're not supposed to do in the microphone.
Moo. No, I think about things sometimes. What would have happened had things been a little bit different? And I don't know. Because if anything had been different at all, there would have been so much I would have missed out on.
Well, I wouldn't necessarily say if anything had been different at all. But there are definitely some things where, had they been different, I can't predict where my life would have ended up. But there are other things where I'm like, could have done without that, and it probably wouldn't have changed much at all.
There's plenty of things I wonder how things would have gone indifferently.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I guess there's no point dwelling on it, but on the other hand, there are some people out there who would insist that wondering about and dwelling upon are the same thing. And to those people, I say,
Yeah. Yeah.
wow, I gotta turn down the volume on this game. It's pretty loud. And honestly, the UI sound effects get really annoying after a while. Like I don't know what they were thinking, but there are certain things that you end up doing that you have to do multiple times at once, and the sound for it is so long and so loud that after a while you just want to stop doing whatever it is.
Moo.
I don't know. Like it's weird because it's a fun game, but there are some things I would just do so differently if I were in charge. And I mean, they're little things. It's just a matter of making the experience more enjoyable for the end user. I mean, when you use a program or an app or whatever, and it's clear that it was made by engineers for engineers, and they never gave the end user a scrap of thought.
Yeah.
Been there, done that, got the fucking t-shirt, I'll tell you now.
That's about how I feel about Mastodon
Hmm.
and Linux.
Well, Linux, Mastodon, I'm having a hard time figuring it out because they make it sound like it's somehow not just Twitter, but my experience so far has been this is just Twitter. So, I mean, I gather there's some weird, cellular thing to it where it's like you join a certain Mastodon, I hesitate to use the word franchise, but they're somehow networked together, except they're not. I mean, it didn't make sense.
Yeah. Well, one thing Elon Musk has done for me It's just driven me off social media pretty much entirely.
Yeah, about that. A lot of the time when you disappear, people start wondering if you're okay. So maybe drop a tweet every now and then to let people know that you're not like, on your bathroom floor not breathing anymore.
Yeah, at least just say something in the DM group.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know. One of these days I will be on the bathroom floor not breathing anymore.
Yes, but you have people around who, for whatever reason, give a damn about you and would rather not, like, wonder and worry,
I don't know. I don't know. Why do they even wonder?
Self torture, I don't know. It's not important.
Oh, geez.
But seriously, I'm just saying, is like, once in a while, just let us know, eh?
There's one thing I'd like to do. I don't know if I can get this done or not, but I was talking about the Great Allegheny Passage earlier, and it goes by the Monongahela River. And what I'd like to be able to do is have a riverside. I don't know, what do you want to call it? Riverside camp out or something. Set up some grills and barbecue some burgers and have a
Sounds like
whole
you're
bunch of
talking
people
about a
over.
tailgate party.
Huh?
Sounds like you're talking about a tailgate party.
Yeah, pretty much. Um, I'd kind of like to have that. The only problem is I don't see anybody coming over for it.
Well, I mean, okay, to be fair, you live a little far away. But on the other hand, I've always kind of liked a good neighborhood barbecue. I mean, we used to have this thing back where I lived in Vermont, where like the entire neighborhood just celebrated being part of the neighborhood, and it was all like Fourth of July without the like colonialism.
Okay.
So, I mean, it was cool, and I kind of miss it. Apparently, the neighborhood isn't nearly as close as it used to be anymore. It's one of those deals. A bunch of people moved in that just didn't fit. You know
Uh,
what I mean? Where it's like you're not really getting into the spirit of the neighborhood, dude. But there's nothing we can do about it because it's not like we can, kick you out. There's no oversight. But
yeah.
still, it's like it's not the same place, quite the same place anymore. Fortunately, a lot of the same people still live there, so it's not completely gone, but it's not the same place. Not really.
I miss setting up the badminton net and you're doing the burgers and playing badminton.
Yeah, we usually had volleyball actually, and well, when it wasn't a celebration day thingy, I mean, the kids we always played kickball from time to time.
Okay.
There was a basketball court. We had some like jungle Jimmy type stuff. There was a slide. There was
Uh-huh.
a sandbox that's not there anymore. So I mean, there was stuff to do.
Oh, I miss playing in the sandbox. It was amazing. Some of the neighborhood kids, it surprises some people when I mention that I actually had friends. Um, and we're, like 12, 13 years old playing in the sandbox.
So here, look at this right here, because this scene played itself out in my neighborhood all the time.
Okay, what do we have? How
Yeah,
kids became neighborhood legends. Okay, yeah.
you
Like
can actually put her full screen.
what?
You can put Kate full screen.
Oh, that's true. But basically, it's just a bunch of kids lying down in front of a jump and a kid doing the bicycle thing over them. Like
Yeah.
seriously, that scene played itself out in my neighborhood so many times. I have all these stories about the kids with the bikes, like Dino and Ricky were the two kids who were like big. Like Ricky would build these weird custom bikes out of scrap parts. Like he had this one that I swear it looked like one of those Harley Davidsons with the monkey hanger bars going up. You know, the monkey hanger handlebars.
Okay.
You know, but Dino was the guy who built this like 4 foot high ramp to do jumps off of, and like all kinds of tricks and shit.
I could get into that.
It was man. I wish I could convey what it was like growing up in that neighborhood, because it's probably not like, it would be really hard to convey it, I think, because it was not your typical suburban kind of place, but it was, oh, it's so hard to describe it. I don't know. It's like it was more of a community than it was a neighborhood.
Okay, yeah.
And I mean, like it was centered around there was a park, like nature trail park thingy not too far away, and there was also a beach for swimming, like right there. And a lot of people had boats, and it was very much a like just this sleepy little beach community is the best way I can put it.
Oh, I could have got into that.
Well, you know, it was nice. There were a lot of things about it I loved. There were a lot of things about it I hated too, but it was mostly weather related.
Oh man, I would not have minded. Well, I always did want. I wanted to build a boat.
Okay.
Um, that or a raft.
Why?
I just wanted to do the Huckleberry Finn thing
But why?
because I'm weird that way.
Okay. It's weird how people take like being asked what inspired them as some sort of personal offense or challenge. That's just weird to me. It's like, no, dude, information request.
I remember kids in my neighborhood trying to gather up a bunch of scrap wood to build a boat.
Yeah.
I would really, really, really like to raft the Mississippi.
I remember an event that would take place in Burlington where people would make boats out of like you. The only rule was that you couldn't use a boat, right? Like you could build your boat out of anything except boat parts. You know, it was so like people would build these funky rafts. I remember once someone tried to use an exercise bike to power a propeller of some sort, you know, and half of them would fall apart like immediately at the beginning
Oh,
of the race. It was pretty entertaining, you know, like nobody
yeah,
really cared who actually won. It wasn't a competition. It was there to entertain everybody. You know,
yeah.
it's kind of like cosplaying at a sci-fi con, you know, that kind of. I mean, sure, some people do that to win a contest or whatever, but the point is that it's really just there to show off and have a little bit of fun. It's not there to kick someone's ass.
We had something like that years ago, called it the Anything That Floats race.
Something like that, yeah.
Um, and this is, oh, I don't know, say about 30 years ago. Um, and I wanted to build a giant hamster wheel, but I couldn't find anybody to go in with me.
Shadow K here is saying they saw an interesting movie called Sliding Doors. It portrayed two outcomes of a woman's life marked by how different her life turned out just by missing the subway.
Well, I've seen like the cover or the poster or whatever, but never like this is the most I've known about it beyond its existence. So you know, I've never quite understood is like the word very used to emphasize something. You know,
Mhm.
oh, it's the very thing I was talking about. Okay.
Yeah, in the sense of true or truly.
No, more in the sense of precise or emphatic, really.
Hmm.
But yeah, I've never quite understood that one. But then it took me a really good long time to understand the use of for in certain contexts. You know?
Or, as
Yeah.
in,
Well, like can't win for losing.
yeah, okay. Hmm.
That kind of thing. It's like but you don't win in order to lose. Why would you win for losing? Like why would you win for the sake of losing? Is the way that reads to my ear. You know,
Yeah.
I know what it means now, but the phrasing is really fucked up.
Yeah. Well, it's likely archaic, right?
No, almost certainly. But I mean, what you gonna do? It's there. There's nothing you can do about it. I mean, there's a lot of things like that where we just say them because they're expressions we've always had, but like it doesn't mean anything anymore because nobody speaks like that. It's one of the reasons why I'm kind of weirded out by biblical language because biblical language is very archaic. It has grammar that'll make Yoda go, "Whoa, dude, wait a second," or more like, "Wait a second, dude." I don't know. However, Yoda would say that. It's just, it's very tangled biblical language, biblical phrasing.
Well, you're speaking of the KJV stuff, right?
Well, sure, but I mean, just in general, it's there's a lot of weird sort of looping around from like one subject to another in ways that are very awkward to a modern ear.
Yeah.
So,
Oh God. Hey, Randy, how you doing, sweetie?
hey there.
No.
What's up, yo? I remember when that was more entertaining, saying yo at the end of everything.
Wasn't that the 90s?
Yeah,
With Stallone and all that shit.
no, no, nothing to do with that at all. No, no, this was, hey, what's up, yo? Hey, let's go to the store, yo. Just yo at the end of everything for no good reason. I remember when that was a thing. I think it kind of got replaced with bra.
Huh.
I don't know.
Yo, bro.
Yeah. And then on the internet, eventually it became bruh. Like, I don't know. It's actually something I've thought about a great deal is the evolution of slang on the internet and how quickly terms can get dropped and yet some stick around for ages. And I'm not really sure why some survive and some don't. And I'm actually quite curious about that.
It's the poo poo.
It's like actually earlier today was the first time I'd seen anyone described as a stan in a really long time.
Now, wait a minute. What is that supposed to be?
Stalker fan.
Okay.
A stan is a stalker fan, you see. Stan.
I don't get out of the house much. I don't know these things.
Well, you don't have to get out of the house. This is an internet thing. That's kind of the point. But seriously, like I hadn't seen that expression in a while, and I was all of a sudden like, huh, Did that die already? I mean, look, when was the last time you heard someone say "Okay, boomer"?
Huh.
You know, I mean,
Happily, it's been a while.
what I'm just saying is that these things die out pretty quickly to the point where, like, your reaction was, "Huh." You know, like most people have probably forgotten about that. Although I have seen a lot of "Okay, groomer" lately.
Oh, geez.
Yeah.
Mm,
And the part that knocks me out is that the only people who think that that's even possible are the people who are screaming about it. But
Hmm.
like ask a queer person, and pretty much all of us will tell you that your sexuality, your gender, all of that stuff is immutable. It's not changing no matter what. You know, even if you're non-binary or gender fluid or whatever, that's not changing. You're going to remain non-binary and gender fluid.
Okay, then. Yeah.
You know, so it's like, but you got all these people thinking, oh, you can train kids to be like whatever, gay, trans. I mean, you remember way back in the day, everyone's like wigging out about NAMBLA and all that. You know, there's all these people like trying to make your kids gay. That was like a Republican refrain for ages, that people
yeah,
were trying to turn your kids gay. But you ask any queer person, and we'll tell you, we don't believe that's possible. We don't
yeah,
believe you can do it in the first place. We don't think conversion therapy works either.
yeah.
Right.
There are a lot of people think that this whole doing trans thing is a fad among youth, and they're being groomed into it. And if you point out how that yeah, very few numbers actually they end up thinking this didn't work out for me. Either they think, oh, just wait, that number is going to skyrocket soon.
I actually haven't seen that one, but I have seen a lot of people never speak again after being challenged. You
Okay.
know, it's like you point out, you give these people statistics from unbiased sources, and a lot of them run away, and others go nuh-uh and give you something from a like a queer phobic source.
Oh, I've even had people go, you can't trust science
Oh,
when you actually give them an actual study that says, hey, look, this doesn't fit with what you're saying.
yeah. Well, you know, like I was dealing with a lot of people who are going, this is just what makes sense. You know, like a lot of people who just plain old going with their gut on things that really are not guttable.
Oh yeah, that's I get it. That was actually okay. So what can you trust then? Oh, my eyes and my gut instincts or something along those lines.
Well, you
Yeah,
can't trust science. Science changes all the time.
right. Yeah. I mean, that is part of the problem is these people expect some sort of cosmic rule book, you know,
Yeah. Yeah.
like they don't understand the idea of we don't know yet, but we're working on it. To them, that's a sign of weakness. I mean,
Hmm.
I'm more than just guessing on that one. I've seen the way they behave about it, but you know, I'm like don't necessarily quote me. I'm just saying, you know, based on a lot of experience and everything I've heard from people who know more than I do on the topic. Uh, anyway, I'm just saying.
No, I've been saying that for a long time. They want a hard and fast set of rules,
Yeah.
and it just doesn't work that way.
Yep.
That's the
Well,
most
not
fun.
just that. I mean, for morality, sure, but there's also the whole thing where it's like, well, if science doesn't get it right the very first time, then science will always be wrong because it's not infallible like our favorite book.
Hmm.
That's
Your
the big.
favorite book, maybe.
Well, no, but I mean that's the point. Is like they expect to just be handed all of this stuff without having to do any of the homework.
Hmm.
You know, they expect to be told rather than having to study and find out.
And the thing about it is that the homework is what's the most fun about it.
No, it's not.
Sure it
I'm
is.
sorry, but it's not. No, you enjoy it, but I'll be honest. I find that doing that sort of thing makes me kind of anxious and tense after a while, and I would much rather just enjoy some fiction. Because at least I can live vicariously through that fiction and have the kind of adventures that the real world will not provide.
Okay, so religion is just made for you.
No, Star Wars was made for me.
Well, isn't that sort of kind of like religion? Isn't there a
Well, you know what?
religion based
You know
on
what?
Star Wars?
Yeah, but you know what religion doesn't usually have? Spaceships. I mean, that's kind of the point is that I want to live vicariously through this fiction. Kind of one of the reasons I play a lot of video games. And that means it's kind of got to be the sort of fiction I like, which means it's not going to be, religious. Or if it includes religion, it's going to be like, oh yes, the god of thieves versus the goddess of magic and nature kind of bullshit.
I think the only religion out there that includes spaceships is Scientology.
Well, what about that?
Hmm.
What about that cult or whatever it was where a bunch of people killed themselves?
What, the Heaven's Gate guys?
That's the one.
Yep.
No spaceships in that one.
Well, weren't they going to be like transferred bodily up to a ship or something?
Something like that.
Or not bodily, extra bodily, whatever the fuck. I thought they were going to be like transported to a ship somehow.
Yeah, maybe they were.
I don't know. But I mean, the point being is like religion. I mean, seriously, the way I've been putting it lately is that the Bible is the worst fantasy novel ever. Like, seriously, 0 of 0 stars, would not recommend. It's just very poorly written, goes off on weird ass tangents that mean nothing. It's a very poorly organized book, and frankly, strained my willing suspension of disbelief almost to the breaking point. And actually, that's one of the ways I've been describing it lately is that religion makes a lot more sense if you think about them as a bunch of sci-fi fantasy fans who are arguing about whose franchise is best and arguing amongst each other about what the lore really means. If you think about them like that, well, number one, they make Trekkies look fucking sane, but it just makes it make so much more sense is that these people are arguing over their favorite fiction.
Yeah, and I mean that's what you get when you get, I don't know, several dozen authors over a period of 15 or 20 centuries and just throwing shit together willy nilly. Wait a minute. Gotta take a step aside here.
Okay. What, are you about to do something that requires a flush?
Yes.
Oh, fair enough then. I was only
Mute.
joking, but fair enough.
Mute.
Yeah. I don't know, but
She didn't mute.
no, she didn't.
We're gonna listen to this whole thing, aren't we?
I think we are. And I have chosen to be entertained by it, but just purely out of self-defense.
Oh.
Yeah, I don't know. There was a website I saw recently where, like, it's one of those quiz things. Enter your first name, enter your last name, or look at the first or last letter of this name. Yeah, whatever. And then it tells you your Don Martin sound effect. Like for those of you who've read Mad Magazine, he always had weird ass sound effects in his comics, and it's like Skachombo and Zets and Fiznark and all kinds of crazy shit like that. It's I don't know. It entertained me anyway. And so every time she blathers in not quite Slavic, I sort of a little bit think of Don Martin. Just saying.
I'm surprised we've managed to go in over an hour so far, seeing as we have so little to talk about.
I know. Well, I mean, I have to admit, I've been sort of bullshitting a bit. I mean, just trying to fill space. It's all I got. Although I have occasionally a little bit wondered if that rant about religion and sci-fi fantasy fans, if that would make some decent stand-up. I don't know. Now I don't know if it's funny enough to be stand-up. Or if it would need to be developed, or if it could be developed. I don't know, but it seems like it has the makings of a stand-up routine.
Hmm.
I don't know.
Would need to be refined into it, but yeah.
I don't know. I mean, it does seem like the sort of thing that might only play to a specific crowd. On the other hand, Jim Jeffries has made quite a career ripping on theists, so. Not that that's all he talks about. In fact, it's weird how many of his routines involve poop. But still, I mean, he's made a lot of jokes at expense of religion, and it's one of the reasons I watch him. And so, there's specialty. So it's not like Patton Oswalt doesn't talk about geekery all the time. He does. So.
Oh, interesting to see a right-winger saying this.
What?
People on Main Street are worried about not being able to afford groceries and gas. It's World War III. These are winning topics for the right. Small businesses closing, being uncontrolled crime and violence in the city. These are also winning topics for the right. Not drag queens and not drag queens. Refocus.
Well, you know that when they're talking about like crime and all of that, that's just a dog whistle for black people, right? I mean, there's nothing laudable about saying crime when you're on the right. I mean, I'm glad that they're saying like let's not focus on drag queens. That's good, but still.
Yeah. This is kind of surprising coming from the source here.
True.
It's by the way, this is from The Quartering. I don't know if you're familiar with them on YouTube.
The name's familiar, but I really couldn't place it. It's kind of like only recently, despite having heard his name for more than a decade, I've only recently seen and heard Sargon of Akkad.
Oh, Jesus.
Yeah, I mean, like I managed to be on the periphery of awareness of the guy. Apparently, some of the people that I was watching and following were like constantly interacting with him, but it was always outside of my experience. And it's only, like I say, in the last week or so that I actually saw him on camera and heard him speak.
I'm trying to remember what the hell it was that Jordan Peterson had to say about him. He was congratulating him for something.
Well, that enough is, that alone is enough to just go, well, whatever then. I mean, Jesus, Jordan Peterson, for fuck's sake. I mean, that guy's a nut. Am I wrong? That guy's a nut.
Absolutely. I used to follow Sargon years ago.
Yeah, same here. Before he really went full on anti whatever the hell it was.
Well, I mean, I could say the same thing about Thunderfoot. I used to love Thunderfoot, and then he turned into this weird, whatever the hell he was going on about, and then he started talking about atheism entirely, and I was like, yeah, unfollow.
Yeah, when he started going, I don't know. I guess the best I can do is call it misogynistic.
More or less. Man, I forget though, there was something very specific that he was going on about. And I remember for me, it was a deal breaker, but it was so freaking long ago that I don't remember what it was anymore, especially with my memory doing what it does.
Well, he had that thing going on about Gamergate.
That might have been it, but I thought there was something else too.
I never actually unsubscribed from him. He still does some stuff here and there that's decent. He's done quite a bit on Elon Musk recently.
That
Well,
stuff I like. Yeah.
I've unsubbed basically everyone from the atheist community with, for some reason, TMM got the nod. He's someone I'm still subbed to, but other than that,
I think I've only
Oh,
had one
my.
disagreement with TMM.
I mean, he and I don't really agree on what the definition of a god might be, or no, it's not the definition of a god because we both agree that's fucked up. No, it was the definition of magic, of the supernatural.
Oh, okay.
Not sure I've heard his definition.
Well, he doesn't really have one, is the thing. He says that the supernatural just can't even be a thing.
Hmm.
Like, oh, if it exists, it's natural. I'm
Well,
like, I get what you're saying, but being the sci-fi fantasy fan that I am, I can at least define what a lot of made up magical systems are, how those work, and from that extrapolate to like a reasonable definition of what magic would be in contrast to something that we would otherwise call natural. And really, what it comes down to is cause and effect. If the cause and effect are clearly linked, if you can draw a straight line from one to the other, then it's natural. But if the cause happens after the effect, but there's no reason it fucking should, then it's supernatural. Like my go-to example is always, okay, if I draw a pentagram on the floor and chant Latin backwards, there's no reason that would summon a demon, but for some reason it fucking does. Clearly that's supernatural.
Yeah, I can see how his definition doesn't really work too well. Or not having a definition, you can't really make the statement that it would just be natural if you don't even have a definition of what you're talking about.
Well, I mean, the thing is that it's like, well, it's part of the natural world. We can see it, we can interact with it. The world is natural, the universe is natural. Therefore, the supernatural can't exist, because if something exists, it stops being like, an idea or a fictional thing, and thus becomes natural, at least in terms of how we classify it. And that's where we kind of disagree. Is I disagree on the classification of it. Really is, again, I point to the difference in cause and effect versus, natural versus magic. I think that's the best way to divide them up, to categorize one versus the other, is the cause and effect factor.
Hmm.
Because again, there's no reason why waving a specially carved stick should produce a fireball, but it does. Why? It shouldn't. Right? Like, based on everything else we know about the world, there is no reason why that should work. And suppose, I mean, again, within this scenario, we're not confused scientists. Even if we learned everything about the entire universe, it would still work the same way, and we'd have no freaking clue why, because it's magic and it just works that way, and it's completely irrational. I mean, magic is basically when the irrational becomes real and possible. I mean, it might not be too far off to say that the quantum layer could potentially be considered supernatural in a way, because it
I
behaves
don't know.
really funky. You have to admit, we don't understand how quantum mechanics works at all.
Well, I
Oh,
wouldn't say
right.
at
I mean,
all.
that's what Feynman said. He said, if you understand quantum physics, you really don't understand quantum physics. But that is a very interesting comparison, where even in the quantum world, cause and effect just crumble. I remember talking to Marty Mur 81 one day. I was doing some research for a film I was making, and yeah, the whole thing about the cause and effect really doesn't apply in the quantum world.
Yeah, so it's just one of those things where it's like, I've given it a lot of thought. Some might say too much, but I really do have what I think is a working definition of magic versus the natural world. I mean, it's the best one I've got, and the only times I've ever heard anyone like really attempt to debunk it, they've been nitpicking. But like I've never heard anyone come up with a reason why that shouldn't be the definition. That didn't really come down to I'd rather define it differently. Like that didn't come down to um I don't want that to be the definition of magic, usually because I want magic to not exist. Like that's usually the what it comes down to is these people don't want to even discuss the concept. They want to define magic out of the conversation. But like even any hypothetical conversation.
Okay.
So it's like that's the only pushback I've ever seen is people who are just offended at the very notion of magic's existence.
I have to admit that I cannot figure out how to begin to define magic, because whenever I try to do it, it ends up being non-magic as I view it.
Like,
Okay, it ends up being something scientific where
like,
you do some particular thing and you always get a certain effect out of it. Well, that's the natural world.
no, but see, that's the thing though, is it's not because cause and effect in the natural world are also related. You can draw a straight line from one to the other. That ball moved because something physically touched it, something actually interacted with it. But if you, like I say, chant Latin backwards and something happens beyond air being disturbed, that makes no sense. So, like, you mutter a magic word and poof, your enemy turns to stone. Make that make sense to me. Even if you get repeatable results, that doesn't mean it makes any sense.
If it's still going against physics, yeah.
I'll give you that much. Yeah.
So, I mean, that's my point, though, is if it works anyway, despite not making sense, magic. I mean, and again, assuming in this scenario that we're not confused scientists who don't have enough information, if it works exactly as observed and we just don't like it because it's irrational, too bad. In this scenario.
Yeah, because one of the things that I occasionally play around with is trying to define miracles, um, and how do you know that miracles don't? I know that miracles don't exist. Okay, let's just put that down as a proposition.
Do
But
you
how
though?
do I know that miracles don't exist? I don't know.
But then you don't know, do you?
We've
You
got
are
that
just
point.
really, 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 really confident in the notion.
Yeah, you've got that point. Yeah. I need to know how it is that I know that miracles are not real. And as I say, we're just taking it as an axiom that I
But I
know
mean,
that miracles are not real.
but see, that's a bias that I at least would prefer to avoid. Is I don't want to start from the position of I know X, Y, or Z doesn't exist. I don't want to start like that. I want to start with even doubting necessarily is something I want to avoid. I want to keep as open a mind as possible. I mean, maybe I do doubt, and even very strongly, that miracles exist, but I got to be open to the idea that I'm wrong. And maybe it's just because I grew up in the age of Lucas and Spielberg and movies were magic and my imagination was fired up all the time. And, I saw all those kids who got to be friends with aliens up on the screen and all of that stuff. And so I've given this kind of thing a lot of thought, and I've wished for a lot of things. So maybe that's coloring it a little bit. But I'm
What was
always
it
gonna,
that you
but I'm
just
always
said?
going to hold open that door to the possibility that magic turns out to be real. Always.
What was it that you just said? Because you dropped out of the picture for about half a minute.
What was the last thing you heard?
Um,
I think that was something on your end there, Diana.
something before Spielberg.
Oh, okay, yeah. I was raised on a steady diet of Lucas and Spielberg and their imitators. I got to see all those kids making friends with aliens up on screen, like E.T. and shit, Flight of the Navigator. And, I got to see a lot of movies that involved magic. I mean, Labyrinth, Willow, fucking Dragon Slayer, and all of those, So, I mean, I saw a lot of things that I wished could be real. Really, just like deep in my heart, wished that I could have some of those same adventures. And
Okay.
so, I will always hold open the hope that something really cool like that exists. I know in the rational part of my brain that it almost certainly doesn't, but I have to hold open that possibility. If I start from the notion that X doesn't exist, then what if it turns out X does exist? And because I'm so biased against it, I refuse to consider it as a possibility. I can't work like that.
Well, one of the things I'm trying to do is disprove myself.
Okay.
So, yeah, I mean, I'm starting from the point where X almost certainly does not exist, but it would be so much fun if I found out that X does indeed exist, and here's how it works.
Well, but see, the thing is, like, again, I wouldn't even want to start with, here's what I think, let me debunk myself. I'd rather start with, is that the case? Let's see if that's the case. Do you see what I'm saying? Like,
All
the
right,
difference is
all right.
that I'm not starting from a position of doubt, but rather curiosity.
Hmm.
Yeah, I see your point.
Like it's more of a what if, not let's see if this thing I'm saying isn't so really. It just seems less open-minded that way.
Okay, I get your point. Daju korostu.
Yeah. I don't know. Maybe I've spent too much time thinking about that as well. I have a lot of time on my hands. That
I've got
and
way too much.
like whether it like comes to good conclusions or not, my brain never fucking shuts up. And
Yeah.
and so it's like even when I'm in the middle of a crowd, sometimes even in the middle of a sentence, I'm thinking about other shit, and I really wish my brain would shut up once in a while. I think it's why I use so much weed.
Okay, okay.
I mean, honestly, it like if I get a good body high going on and I actually get my mind feeling transported to another world or something, which is, by the way, great. I love that feeling. It helps me narrow my thoughts down to one topic, if nothing else.
Okay.
I mean, trust me, if you're not neurodivergent, you may not get it, but if you are, you probably do understand why it's important to narrow one's thoughts down just a smidge. you know, Especially since, like, if I have a squirrel moment and my short term memory being what it is, I could very easily completely forget what pre squirrel thoughts were happening.
Okay.
It's just it's not easy to deal with sometimes. I hate my brain. Like, you know how, well, you probably don't, but the rest of you know how Tom Sizemore, the actor, just died. Well, he died of the same thing that bloody nearly killed me. And so that, like, as much as I've heard the guy's a bit of a jerk, or was, he's, like domestic violence, substance abuse, blah, 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 blah. Apparently he was turning his life around before the aneurysm killed him.
Oh, so what? He had a hole in his brain?
No, 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 no. He had an aneurysm. That's a burst blood vessel.
Okay, then, yeah.
But yeah, so it hit home a bit, despite not being his biggest fan, is my point.
Oh my. No, as soon as you said Sizemore, the first thing I thought of was the ball player, but no.
I don't know who that is. I just know actors. You know that. Although,
No.
actually, like that dude that I think is awesome in the Super Bowl. What's his name? I think is Jackson Mahomes, the guy who looks like Sideshow Bob.
Oh, okay.
Well, apparently he has a brother named Patrick who I assume is riding his brother's coattails when he becomes an internet celebrity. But apparently he got into trouble. He very softly sexually assaulted someone. There's footage of it. I watched it. He was like grabbing her actually by her throat and then kissing her from behind. And she was clearly not receptive, but it never really got to the point of violence. Regardless, the guy got himself into hot water. And when I read it, I forgot that the cool guy, the quarterback, who by the way is apparently a pretty stand up fella, is Jackson, and his brother is Patrick. And you can hear how it has this vaguely similar sound. Jackson Patrick, it's got that. Anyway, so I thought Sideshow Bob had like suddenly become no longer worthy of my respect. And I was like very disappointed for a moment. Then I discovered it was his bro.
Täiu korostub.
Oh, yeah. I forget now why I brought that up.
Apparently, some of the charges on Marilyn Manson have been turned out to be false.
Huh. What? I mean, I've heard the guy's a bit of a wank, but I don't know any specifics.
Manson was accused of grooming a minor in the Six of the Valley in 2021. And Evan Rachel Wood, Manson's former girlfriend, accused him of grooming her as a teenager, which apparently is the part that turned out to be false. That somebody made it up, and she just basically was reading a script.
I see. Well, I was never his biggest fan anyway. In fact, I'm not sure I could pick one of his songs out of a lineup.
Oh man, I'm trying to remember. Was he in that film? The title was a quotation from the book of Jeremiah.
I don't know. I know he is a musician. I know a lot of my goth friends think he's more like Mick Goth than actual goth, but whatever. I don't know.
Okay.
Like as in he's more of a corporate poser than an actual goth kind of thing. I mean, sure, it's a bullshit purity test, but still.
Uh-huh.
Like I get it, like I've seen posers before and I get it, but still.
Moo.
Yeah.
Okay, wait a minute.
It's like, when something gets popular and then like the corporate people jump on the bandwagon like really hard.
Yeah.
Well, it's like a lot of people would accuse Marilyn Manson of being manufactured.
Okay.
Like he's a stereotype. I mean, okay, granted, the definition, at least where like in Seattle, of what makes a person goth is like really, really mushy. But even so, I mean, hell, they accepted my ass, and I'm like, all I did was put on some black clothing. I didn't change a damn thing about me. So, I mean, even so, like I get the whole "you're not really one of us" thing. I get it. Like, how do I put this? You talk the talk, but you don't walk the walk.
I'll take your word for it.
Well, you know the expression.
Yes.
Well, that's how a lot of my goth friends feel about Marilyn Manson.
Oh, bushy.
I do like his version of "This Is Halloween."
Don't know it.
From the Nightmare Before Christmas. That song.
Yeah, I hate Tim Burton, right?
Marilyn Manson did a version of that song from that movie.
It doesn't shock me. Oh,
No, tu queres siete parodie.
Flabada blib blob bleeb.
Yes.
Nix plus blani quando flew.
Quando.
Okay, clearly the reference was missed, which surprises me because I know you like Carlin.
Move beef.
It was the one routine where he's like, so tell us in your own words. And he goes, oh, really? In my own words? Well, I just say Nix plus blani quando flew.
I don't know if I heard that one.
You don't remember? Okay. All right. That's I find that interesting, but all right.
Well, I have not memorized the entire Carlin. What am I looking for? I don't know. Discography.
Still, that one always stuck with me. I just there's a picture screen here. There.
Wait a minute. Dayu Korostu?
See, right there. Nix plus blani quando flew.
Moo.
Hooray for subtitles.
I miss him.
Yeah. Although I know we disagree on this, but I liked him better in his earlier days when he was sillier. Like, don't get me wrong. I love the political commentary and everything, but he got a little bitter for me by the end.
And I guess that's why I really liked that period, the bitterness.
I liked the commentary. I didn't like the attitude.
Okay.
I mean, I don't know. Maybe that's just me. But, and also, I guess part of the problem was that it came at the expense of the sillier stuff. It was like he had to trade one for the other. You know? Like he just completely switched up his style by the end of it.
Well, okay, I'll give you that. Yeah, I don't know if it was a conscious decision to give up one for the other, or
It doesn't matter whether it was or not. He stopped producing the stuff I liked.
No, okay.
You know, and I mean, he replaced it with other stuff I liked, but I didn't quite like it as much. I liked the wackier stuff, you know, I liked the class clown stuff. I like that funky thing he could do with his throat that he stole from like Spike Jones or whatever that I could never do. The you know where he does that thing where it's this weird gargling. Yeah, you know. I mean, I liked that where he'd talk about like what kids do in school. You know, it's like it's making fun of teachers and doing stuff behind the teacher's back, getting into trouble as kids. I mean, I'm a big old fan of just childhood in general, right? So, I mean, that was part of the appeal of George Carlin, and my introduction to him was Class Clown.
Okay, then.
So, I mean, because seriously, my parents bought an audio cassette, because this was the 80s, of, actually it might have been the 70s, of Class Clown for me. And I listened to it a lot before I ever saw him in anything else. In fact, it's possible my next encounter with George Carlin was Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I discovered Carlin in, oh God, what? 75.
All right.
And I think my introduction may have been Class Clown.
Well, and let's remember that I was born in 75. So when Class Clown, when I was introduced to it, I was in elementary school.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, I won't say I was a class clown, but I did enjoy goofing off a lot in mildly disruptive ways, let's be honest.
Okay.
So, I mean, the class clown, my point is that class clown hit home in a lot of ways. It resonated. I was the right age to be receptive to it.
Boy, I tell you, that brings back some memories, though.
Does it?
My first time at university and all that other stuff.
Okay. You're going to have to unpack that for the rest of us.
Well, I was to university twice.
That doesn't help.
Oh, okay. Well, just those things that happened many, many years ago.
Okay. Well, I
I
don't know.
sometimes wonder,
Yeah.
had some things changed here and there, would things have been better? Or
Well, what sorts of things and what sorts of changes? Like
oh,
what things were worse?
had I done a little better at academics, for example, or um, I hate to use the phrase, but put my nose to the grindstone a little harder.
Hmm. Well, I've often wondered what my life would be like if I weren't autistic or had ADHD.
Yeah,
I mean, the thing is, like, a lot of us who are on the spectrum tend to be fairly creative types, and I'd hate to lose that. I mean, I'm
yeah,
sure there's a lot of
Yeah.
who I am and what I do that comes from being neurodivergent, but on the other hand, I can't pretend it hasn't gotten in my way.
Well,
right.
there's a reason why people say that they are autistic rather than they have autism.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I honestly at this point, I don't know which one people are going to prefer, and I know I'm going to piss people off, and I'm one of those people, so I think I get to define which one I prefer. But you'd be surprised. There's some people out there who would be like, "No, no, no, you're hurting the community." Yeah, I just say I'm autistic, and if anyone wants to bitch about that, let them.
That tends to be the preferred term. That someone is autistic rather than they have.
Mm.
Yeah.
And then there are the days that I wonder, what would things have been like had I had a set of parents? But
Mm.
then, had I had a set of parents, for example, I wouldn't have had Bobcat and Detko.
Well, but what? Well, here's another one. What if the parents you'd ended up with hadn't quite had their heads that far up their asses?
Yeah, yeah.
Because I mean, there were a lot of good things about being with my parents. They were just idiots.
Mhm.
What if I could change that? What if I could change the parts where they really didn't know what the fuck they were doing and were in fact acting against my best interests without quite realizing that's what they were doing?
Mm. Well, there's the other thing. I wonder. Well, most of the time I know, and I'm not sure how I know it, but I think those two knew exactly what they were doing while they were doing it.
Okay.
Um, which really disappoints me because in knowing what they were doing, they knew the effect it was having.
Well, I know for a fact my parents are idiots. Like they've full on admitted that they were being idiots. Like it took wringing it out of them, but they were like, "Yeah, okay, we done fucked up." Right? And that felt good to hear, but it also means that there probably wasn't much that could have been done about it. If parents were genuinely evil, there's often some recourse or other that you have. But if your parents are just schmucks, There's not a lot you can do about it.
Mm.
If nobody minds, I'm gonna wrap this up in about 15 minutes.
All right.
I just want to get to the grocery store and see if I can get my pots and stuff cleaned up so I can make dinner. I'm gonna do a slow cook thing with a pork tonight, hopefully.
Wait a minute, slow cooked possum?
Pork.
Aw.
I got radishes. I'm gonna doctor up some radishes, put some pork in there, and maybe get some diced onions.
Sounds tasty.
Yeah.
Again, maybe it's just because I'm a complete child, but I keep thinking there ought to be a dork and beans joke in there somewhere.
I am thinking about maybe adding some beans too.
Uh,
Haven't entirely decided yet.
I
do have some beans sitting around.
It's
I
just
wanna-
one of those things.
I want to find bean sprouts, and I can't find bean sprouts.
Like mum
then-
bean sprouts.
Yeah.
Those are hard to find. Although, you know what? If you go into, like, if your supermarket has an Asian or ethnic section, you can often find them canned.
Well, then just buy the mung beans and grow your own sprouts.
I may have to.
No, but I'm serious.
Well, so am I.
You can buy them. You just can't necessarily get them fresh. And to be perfectly honest, when you get them out of a can, there's really no difference.
No, I would be so very happy to find them in a can, and I can't.
Have you looked in the ethnic section?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, the ethnic section is about 12 feet long on one side of the aisle.
Oh, yeah, we have an entire aisle. Granted, it is only one side of the aisle, but that entire side of the aisle is like Asian, Mexican, kosher, blah, 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 whatever. I think there's like an Indian section in there somewhere. But yeah,
man.
I mean, it's fairly comprehensive, and there's some pretty good stuff there.
Yeah, the one in my area is just like half of one side.
Yeah.
What I think I'm going to have to do is take a bus into the collegiate section of town. There are a few Asian markets there, and just do some shopping one day. It's just a pain in the arse because there's so much walking involved to get to the damn bus, and I really don't feel like paying $30 one way to get there with Uber.
Say, when, and I realize this is going to sound like a tangent, but when is like Girl Scout cookie season?
Right about now.
Really? I always thought it was like more like summer or fall.
I was looking it up a little while ago, and let's see, girl.
I'll be honest, I don't think that can possibly be right. And I'll tell you why not. Because this is Vermont, and Girl Scouts are not going to be standing outside in this weather.
I haven't gotten Girl Scout cookies since they changed the recipe on the Thin Mints.
Well, the main reason I'm asking is because we've had dispensaries since October, and if any Girl Scouts really know what they're doing, they'll set up right in front of the dispensary.
Yeah, definitely.
And this is a college town. So, I mean, there's a lot of pot smokers out here.
I remember that story when I think it was in California where they just made it legal there. Or one Girl Scout set up right outside the pot shop up and was like the biggest seller in the entire time.
Yeah.
Okay.
One thing that was kind of unfortunate, the pandemic has actually like really hurt the Girl Scout cookie market. I mean, they apparently haven't been able to keep a supply. Like they're having supply chain issues, production issues. They could not make enough boxes of cookies for the season. They just couldn't do it.
Okay, so I'm looking over here. I looked online for Girl Scout cookie foods, and there's one down the street from here on the 18th of March. Another one in Turtle Creek on the 5th. Let's see, Hoffman Boulevard on the 5th. So at least in this particular neighborhood, it's right about now.
Well, let's see. Yes, 2023, of course. Okay, fine. Zip code. Oh, well, they'll ship them.
I could do that because I'd like to get some Girl Scout cookies.
But I don't see. Oh, here we go. There's some locations. Let's see. What do we got here? Okay. And the details? Well, hell, they're open right now. What do you know? Okay, so apparently they're only going to be at the University Mall and at Joanne's in, oh, well, South Burlington. Okay, sure. Oh, now we're into Winooski. So it turns out that Walmart and Walgreens are actually not affiliated, despite the fact that they're both a bunch of bigots.
Oh, okay.
Like seriously, Walgreens has started denying people birth control pills in
What
certain
the fuck?
states.
Oh,
Not even kidding. And I was like, well, that sounds a little, sort of Walmarty Chick-fil-A-ish. So I looked it
yeah.
up, and despite the name, Walgreens and Walmart are not related.
No, they're
Who'd have
not.
thunk it? I mean, it's some convergent evolution right there of store names, isn't it?
I'm trying to remember what the family name is. It's Wall something.
Walton.
Say again?
Walton.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Yeah, the people we're supposed to be more like rather than the Simpsons.
Yeah.
Took me a while, weirdly, to track down that quote. I'd forgotten who said it. For some reason, I thought it was Reagan, but it was actually Shrub Sr.
Oh, my.
Yep. I don't know. I've never actually seen the Waltons, but I know I don't want to be like them because apparently they're very rural, and boy, howdy, am I not.
Yeah, well, what is it? Arkansas they've got written all over them?
I have no idea. I just know that they were very salt of the earth, shall we say. And me, I'm more like suburbia and urbia when it comes to preferences.
Kaya ko rosto.
So, I mean, I don't want to be like that. But at the same time, I can understand not particularly wanting to be like The Simpsons either. Because they're not the best, are they?
Nope.
I mean, I would love to find a happy medium between suburban and urban. Well, I mean, that's one thing that's kind of difficult. I did put my ass back onto OkCupid, and it turns out that unless I want to live off the grid and hike all the time, I'm going to be single from now on.
Moo.
There's just way too many Birkenstock lesbians out here for me.
Oh, man. I had nothing but crap out of OK Stupid.
Yeah, well. Also, most of my results are from freaking Montreal, and it's really difficult to limit it to just your own like home state or home country without eliminating parts of your home state or home country because it's based on distance, not on borders. And I'm like, I got nothing against Canada. I'm just not Quebec's biggest fan. And
Okay.
well, they're also my closest Canadian neighbor, so
My. Sometimes I want to run away to Canada, but then again, sometimes I'm thinking it's too cold.
Yeah, well, it's funny how quickly I acclimated back to Vermont weather. Like when I first moved here from Southern California, mind you, it felt a little too cold, even at like, the mid 60s or whatever, right? But since it's gone down to negative 12 Fahrenheit for those not paying attention, and then now it warmed back up to like low to mid 30s, and I'm sitting there going, woohoo, bikini weather.
Ha!
It's very much like a perspective thing. I acclimated back to my old home state very quickly.
I'm surprised. I actually am.
Why?
I thought that you would be more seasoned to Southern California.
Well, I was for a while, but like I said, I acclimated quickly. I'm also one of those people where like I don't get jet lag if I go to another state that's like, in another time zone or whatever. I adjust to the time change very quickly. I just, I don't have those problems. I adapt to a lot of, there's other things I don't adapt to at all, obviously, but I adapt pretty quickly to environment changes like that.
I don't know. When you talk about time, I have a hard time adapting to any time change.
Really?
Yeah. For example, the early morning thing that I have to do now, I have to stay with it precisely no matter what. Otherwise, I won't get up for dialysis.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
This is strange to me.
Yeah, for me, just getting up in the morning at all can be difficult.
Yeah. Yeah.
I have hungry cats to bat me awake on my nose with their little clawsy claws. So,
Yeah.
I usually am awake, like it or lump it.
Yeah, I used to have a bird that was squawking bitch at me if I wasn't up at a certain time to feed them, but I don't have that anymore.
Okay. Ship cookies to your door.
Yeah. It's funny because, like, I don't know if I want to get cookies now. I remember the last ones I had were tagalongs, and they're decent, but I forget there was a flavor I wanted that they didn't have.
Okay. I don't know. I'd like
Let's
to buy a
see.
shitload of tagalongs.
Like, I guess it's funny because I hadn't had any, or I hadn't had any in a long time. I forgot that they were peanut butter.
The tagalongs?
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
Well,
yeah.
I had forgotten. Or didn't know in the first place. I don't remember which. I'm trying to remember. Ooh, they have s'mores. I never liked the caramel delights because, like, the coconut, I hate shaved coconut. It's like, oh, albino spider legs. Woo! Shortbread, not bad. I don't know. None of these are really jumping out at me as something I need to have.
It's been a very, very long time since I've had Girl Scout cookies, and I miss them.
The s'mores sound good, and I always like shortbread, but still.
Yeah, like I said, I kind of stopped eating them since I changed the recipe on the Thin Mints and a number of others.
Well, I don't like mint to begin with, so.
What did they change it to on the
I
Thin
don't.
Mints?
I don't remember. I think they tried to make it more healthy by changing the oils in it or something.
Oh no!
Just watch, they ended up using carob. Yeah, I have a bit of a grudge, excuse me, against carob because of my fucking hippie parents.
Yeah, they did something like that with the cookies, and it. I don't know. Just they just don't taste the same to me anymore.
What I really miss are the tagalongs. I'd like to buy about a dozen boxes of those things.
Ooh, little mini things of Haagen-Dazs ice cream are on sale right now. I'm looking at my grocery store what the buy one get one deals are for this week. So
I
they
Ice
got
was
cream bars. Oh my.
buying those for a while. The single serving Haagen Dazs. I found Ben and Jerry's as well, but for some reason here in Vermont we can only get the Haagen Dazs ones. Well, and Friendlies.
yeah they have both Ben and Jerry's and Haagen-Dazs. They usually if one's on sale, the other one will be on sale next week.
I don't know. I am actually trying to cut down on snacks.
Hmm.
I don't know. It's weird. I haven't been enjoying them much lately. As part of it, uh, I don't know. Like every now and then, I'm sitting there, and all of a sudden, I'm going, "Wow, do I actually want fruit? What's wrong with me?"
Fruit is good.
But I guess part of the problem is that the fruit around here is not good. It's that I haven't been able to find quality fruit since summer.
Ooh, my favorite root beer is on sale.
So that's part of it.
Let me see what I can find here.
And the Pop Secret popcorn's on sale too.
It's like
Hmm.
every apple is bruised to shit kind of problems, you know.
Hmm.
The grapes are all just a little bit on the mushy side and starting to go brown a bit. You know, like
Yeah.
things weren't bad in summertime, but I guess winter, But we can at least have good apples here in Vermont. We're known for apples.
Okay. You know what I miss? I wonder when I'm going to start seeing them again. Those grapes that are shaped like eggplants.
Yeah, those aren't shaped like eggplants, according to most other people.
They're
But
not.
I know the ones you mean, and I saw them like this summer, but it's been a while. Like they'll probably show up again when they're in season, I assume.
I can't remember when they're in season. I want some
Well, I presume summertime,
because I
because that's
forget
when
when
I
I
saw them.
I forget when I saw them last year.
Well, I'm pretty sure I saw them around summertime last year, so uh, I would guess summertime would be the time to go looking.
Dayu korostu.
Yes.
They were yummy and tasty. There they are. Moondrop grapes. That's what they're called.
Well, sure.
Interesting.
What?
Just looking at them.
Oh. I don't know. I seem to vaguely remember them being unremarkable, aside from that rather rude shape.
I imagine the flavor might be impacted considering how big they are.
Okay. Allegedly, the moondrop grapes are in season August to November.
So, not now.
Not now.
That would probably explain why it's hard to find them.
Moo. I mean, the
Alright.
last time I got them, they were shipped in from Peru, but
See, that again, my brain will not stop it. Like, as soon as you said Peru, my brain started singing Lake Titicaca.
okay.
You know,
Well,
Lake Titicaca, Lake Titicaca. It's between Bolivia and Peru. You see, that's where the word Peru was all it took. I hate my brain.
anyway, I'm gonna get going here. I got things to
Dayu
see and people to
korostu.
do. So I'll see you guys later.
Well,
Have
you be
fun.
good. You have fun. I'll see you, I don't know, some point.
Yeah, probably
Wait a
next
minute.
week
Why
when
is
you.
my chat disconnected?
I don't know why is your chat disconnected.
I don't know, but
Alright.
that's what it's telling me.
What do you mean disconnected?
Um,
Being popped out?
YouTube says 1:30 p.m. chat disconnected. Please wait while we try to reconnect you. Oh, okay. And then it's successfully reconnected.
Sounds like you're having trouble over there. Anyway,
A little bit.
I'm getting going later.
Have fun, sweetie. Oh my, who else do we have around here? Kate, did you disappear?
Earlier this morning, like, I wish I had filmed this. I was throwing kitty treats to the cats, right? Now, Xander is really good at, like, well, like, catching a treat in his mouth, right? Like, I can toss it to him and he'll just glomp out of the air. Well, earlier today, I threw one to him and he was eating it. I threw another to Columbia and he ran, jumped up, batted it out of the air, and then ate it. And I was like, holy crap, I wish I could have filmed that.
Oh my.
Cause that was like he looked like an NFL player, intercepting a pass or a basketball player or something. It was crazy pants.
Oh my. I mean, you talk about NFL, we had a whole bunch of, what did they call it? Immaculate reception a couple months ago.
Huh?
There was this football player on the 70s Steelers who made a totally amazing, so they say, catch, that by all odds should never have been done, but he won a game with it, and every year they go on for about 2 weeks with this thing.
Really?
Trying to remember the guy's name.
Well, it reminds me of this thing, and maybe it's real, maybe it's not. But it was from How I Met Your Mother, where Marshall is from Minnesota, and apparently there was some AFC Championship game or something where some dude drops a pass or made a really bad kick, missed a field goal or whatever, and totally cost the Vikings the game. Right. And they go to a Minnesota bar in New York at one point because apparently Minnesota bars are a thing, at least in How I Met Your Mother. And so every time someone mentions that game, everyone has to go damn and bash their hand on the table, right? And so it was like this tradition about, if you mention that loss that the Vikings had, you have to, shout damn.
Okay.
It
Oh,
was a thing.
Franco Harris was the guy's name. Moo. I chased everybody away.
I guess so. I haven't really noticed anybody say anything in the chat in quite some time.
Oh my. But yeah, this was in 1972. So every year they go on for about 2 weeks with it.
I mean, that's kind of sad in a way because that means it's their only claim to fame.
Yeah, well, these people here about all they have are the 1970s Steelers.
I have to admit, it always a little bit annoyed me that, okay, Boston has at least one, maybe two baseball teams. I can't remember. And all of New England has one football team. It always kind of pissed me off a little that Vermont doesn't have its own professional sports team. That we don't
Okay.
have it, like we don't get representation outside of all of New England. That always kind of I
Not
mean,
even a
because I always felt overlooked here. It's like there's so many fast food franchises and store franchises that just don't come here. It just, I always felt like so many opportunities in the world were passing me by.
and then you moved back into it.
Yeah, well, I had reasons and they're still good ones. So,
Well, I'm just happy that you're happy up there.
yeah. But anyway, I mean,
I don't think I could. No, I'm not saying it right when I say I don't think I could move back to Cleveland. I know I could not move back to Cleveland.
Why is that?
There's just nothing for me there. I don't have the kind of good memories I would want to go back to.
So that's the thing is like as much as I had problems with my parents and as much as like going to school really sucked, there are a lot of things that like there's a lot of nostalgia wrapped up in this area for me. You know,
Okay,
um,
okay.
I remember going down the bike path this summer and so many things just came flooding back, all these sights and smells and the feeling of the air on my skin and stuff, and I'm like, oh, hello childhood, so that's where I put you.
Yeah, with me, the last time I was back there, which was when my sister died, that was, oh my God, what, 15, 16 years ago. Um, they had dug everything up and turned it over, you know, like preparing a garden for planting. You know, you just turn all the soil over. And there was just nothing there that I remembered.
See, that's a big difference. Is a lot of what I remember is still here. I mean, a lot's been decimated, don't get me wrong, but a lot of it is still here. And a lot of it still looks the same. I can point to things that have been there since elementary school. And I'm
Okay.
like, you know, that's cool. I can come back here and it still feels like home despite the changes. That may
Okay.
not be the case for much longer. They're doing some really funky shit to some of the roads around the house where I grew up. But, you know, still, it still mostly feels like home.
I mean, what I would really like to see, and it's not going to happen, it's never going to happen, I know this, but I would really like to go to a shopping mall, into the hobby store that I remember, and peruse the chemical supply rack where you could go in there and you could buy the chemicals that would kill you, but you had so much fun doing the experiments.
Well, if you say so.
Oh man. I mean, this is when you could get an AC Gilbert chemistry set and blow shit up with it.
Okay.
Oh man.
Nah.
What you eating?
Cheez Its.
Oh, sounds tasty.
Now, they're the extra toasty cheddar jack style.
Oh man, I'm hungry for Triscuits.
I love jack cheese. It's very good. It's all soft and creamy and mild. I love it.
Oh man. Something I haven't had in quite a while. I got to go looking for it. Is smoked cheddar.
Hmm. I will admit, smoked cheeses are usually pretty good. If it's cheese I would have liked in the first place.
Okay.
I
Okay.
mean, you know, smoked Limburger, fuck off.
Detko used to love Limburger.
I mean, I have to wonder, like, if I could completely turn off my olfactory senses, would Limburger taste good?
Hmm. I don't know. I could never get close enough to it to taste it.
I mean, so many of these cheeses just plain smell like vomit.
Oh
I mean, they really do. I'm not even kidding. It's not hyperbole.
no. Yeah, I know what the cause is too. It's a certain carboxylic acid, but yeah.
Mm, I mean, if it like, do they taste like vomit too?
I'm not sure. I mean, I don't sit around tasting vomit to tell you.
Well, surely you've, and I said surely, not surely, so fuck off. Surely you've tasted it when you've thrown up, so you at least have a sense of what vomit tastes like.
There you go. Yeah. And it's not very good tasting, I'll tell you that.
Right. Well, it tastes the way blue cheese smells, and I have to wonder, like, why anyone ever consented to eat it in the first place. I mean, if I'm going to eat something that smells that disgusting, it should at least get me high.
There you go. Oh, yoy. Well, I guess there are two people here.
Well, one of them's probably you.
Yeah, and I'll bet the other one is probably Shadow Kitty.
One would presume, but hey, if anyone's in the chat, throw, like, let's say a W in there to let us know you're watching.
Daju korostu.
Speaking of stuff that I've been watching, I found a bunch of episodes of You Can't Do That on Television on YouTube. I spent the last 2 days binge watching it, and I'm just like in absolute heaven because it's such a staple of my childhood, that show.
What is it?
It's a kids sketch show from Canada. It's actually it's the origin of the green slime that got to be like Nickelodeon's trademark.
Oh.
But it's this Canadian sketch show with a bunch of kids. And like they were never meant to be stars. They were just a bunch of kids who went to school and then after school went to the studio to be on this show. And they never really like met a bunch of fans. And it's in Canada, and it was actually like a local show to start with. And it stayed that same local show when it started being made by Nickelodeon. They just abandoned the local like station itself, but they kept exactly the same format. And I mean, like it was one of the only kids shows that did not try to educate the kids at all. It was demented. It was sick. All of the grown-ups are portrayed as complete buffoons. And like hell, there's this one routine bit that they would do where they're clearly in some Spanish-speaking banana republic, and the kid is tied to a post about to be executed, about to be shot by a firing squad. And the grown-up there is like, ready, aim, and the kid would go, wait a minute, stop the execution. And then the kid would give this like excuse for why they shouldn't be executed. And it rarely ended with the kid being shot. It usually ended with the ready, aim, fire dude getting shot. Either that or him letting the kid go, and then suddenly realizing, oops, I shouldn't have done that, kind of thing. There was a sketch where kids would be like chained up in a dungeon. There was another where they'd go to this burger joint called Barth's, and the running joke was like, oh yeah, Barth was being inspected by the health inspectors, and they didn't give him a bad report. Oh really? Why not? Who do you think's in the burgers? And Barth would pop up and go, I heard that. It was just this silly, goofy, absolutely demented kids show that had no redeeming value whatsoever. And that's why we loved the shit out of it. My generation loved that show. You know how I keep talking about this bond among 80s kids? That one is a biggie. That show, oh, you have no idea. That is huge for 80s kids.
Oh, my.
That's one experience that pretty much all of us can say we shared.
Oh, my.
It's kind of like, you're sick and you stay home from school. What are you watching? Game shows. Which one are you definitely watching? The Price is Right.
Okay. Well,
that's such an 80s kid thing. Like there are memes going around all over the place where it's like, if you're from the 80s, you'll recognize this, and how they interrelate with each other, kind of thing. And everyone's like, oh yeah, big time. It's just like there's this culture among 80s kids that I don't see around any other decade. Like there's people, oh yeah, I remember that. That was nice. Ooh, I love that band. Nostalgia, nostalgia. But 80s kids have a fucking bond. I don't know how else to explain it.
I have some memories like that. That period when I was in hospital for a month, I got addicted to the game show network, especially they had a game show that was based around a giant pinball machine.
Huh.
And yeah, I mean, I'd spend all day watching this goddamn game show network. Because what else is there to do when you're lying in a hospital bed, right?
Hmm.
But I kind of miss that stuff. And well, this was 76. So it was a while ago.
I mean, I remember the whole lineup though. I mean, Press Your Luck. Big money, no whammies. That one.
Oh, right.
I
Yeah.
loved that one. That was so much fun. And what was the one? I think it was Password or whatever, where you put the little letters into the slot and they have this thing that goes do 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 and shows you where the letter is in a little crossword puzzle. You know that one?
I don't know right offhand. I mean, I remember Password with Alan Ludden, but that was.
Maybe it was just Scrabble. I don't know, but there was this 80s game show. Let me see if I can find it. 80s game show. Was it Crossword? Maybe that was it. How about some images? Because this isn't helping. Yeah, it was this.
Oh, looks like it was based on Scrabble. Okay. I think
Yeah.
I barely remember something like that.
But apparently it's called Crossword. Yeah, so I mean, there were a bunch of just game shows that everybody knows because they watched them while they were homesick from school.
I didn't get to be homesick from school very often.
Oh, and not just sick from school, snow days as well.
Oh man, I don't remember having very many snow days. There were a
I was
few.
raised I was raised in Vermont before we had quite so much, climate change. And so we had a lot of snow days. We had a lot of days where you wake up, you see a lot of snow on the ground, and so you turn on the radio waiting for them to announce which schools are closed, hoping that yours is one of them. Being kind of pissed off when it's like, oh yeah, Central and Chamberlain both closed. Orchard School, get your ass in class, bitches. It's like, God damn it. They get the day off and I don't? That's not fair.
Oh my.
I remember Love Connection with Chuck Woolery.
Oh,
He recently got himself into some trouble or he died or something. I forget. Or maybe he just spouted off on some weird right-wing diatribe. I don't know.
I was going to say, I was trying to remember. Did he go, I mean, just totally right wing?
It's weird how many have. There have been a few where I was surprised they were right-wing. There have been a few where I was like, yeah, if you'd asked me, I could have told you. Yeah, like James Woods being right-wing didn't shock me in the least.
I don't know. Not that I actually do want to see it or anything, but I'm waiting for the day when, somebody like Rob Reiner goes totally right wing.
Yeah, that one's not going to happen. Not Rob Reiner. But there have been a few where I've been a little surprised they haven't flipped, but Wow, she's been quiet for a while.
Shut up.
Yeah. It's funny, you know how like as inflation grew, they had to keep changing how much money was on that pyramid?
Oh, right. Oh my God. Where did it start? I think it started where you won what, $5 or some shit.
It might have been 10,000 or maybe less. I don't know, maybe 1,000. I don't know. I don't know. But what I know is at a certain point it got up to at least 25K, and I think that was still in the 80s.
Oh my.
And then of course there's all of the other game shows, the kid game shows like Double Dare.
I don't
And
know.
oh, what was the other one that came after Double Dare? Oh, geez, I can't remember. And do you remember American Gladiators? That was more 90s than 80s, but American
I know
Gladiators.
I know of it.
Yeah. What the hell show am I thinking of? The one that was basically spawned off of Double Dare. I can't remember. Here we go. Let's see. Nickelodeon game shows in the 80s. No, wait, that's 90s. Fuck off. 80s. Okay. No. Okay, here's a wiki. Man, they have a lot of them. I don't see it. I don't know which one I'm thinking of. Because it was clearly based on Double Dare, but it was almost entirely physical challenges. What am I thinking of? Maybe it's this Finders Keepers game. I don't know. But there was something. Anyway.
Tayo Korostu. Oh my.
Image search. Let me see. Nickelodeon. Those are Finders Keepers. Let's see. There's that. No, I'm thinking of something else because the one I'm thinking of had a lot of slime, much like the physical challenges in Double Dare. Dang. All right. Like basically what I'm remembering, it was something like Double Dare meets American Gladiators is the way I'm remembering it.
Oh my.
Okay, it was definitely not Nick Arcade.
Hourly. Just for the hell of it, I want to see what it's going to be like out there.
All right. No, that wasn't it. Jeez. Don't think it was Paradise Run. What am I thinking of? Was it possibly just Splat? I don't know. Okay, it wasn't Paradise Run, that's for sure. When did it? There were 3 teams? No, that's not what I'm thinking of at all. I remember a red and a blue team. I remember that for sure. Is it possibly that? Oh, that you're. I don't know. I don't think it was that. Well, let's see. Blue and gold. No, because I remember red and blue. This might be it. What would you do? Oh, no, this isn't it. No, that's not it at all. Whatever. It's one of those things, like, eventually it'll pop into my head or it won't. I don't know.
Thursday.
No, that won't happen. Not on Thursday. God.
Oh, God. What are you doing, cat? Oh, my word.
I wonder, this Fun House, is that the one with like J.D. Roth as the host? I'm not sure. Wow, Supermarket Sweep. I never did watch that, but I remember hearing about it.
Wait a minute. I think I remember that. That was one of those shopping spree shows, wasn't
Oh,
it?
wait, no, I did watch this one. It was one of the ones you run with a shopping cart into like a simulated store that was part of the stage, and like you had to bring out maybe the most expensive items or some shit. I
Some
forget.
shit like that. Yes. There was a period where those were all the rage.
Well, there are a lot of memes going around where it's like, now I understand why when I was a kid, people on The Price is Right were so happy to get appliances. Because I have to admit, like as a kid, I was watching those shows going, these prizes suck. Like unless you get a car or a pool, in the Showcase Showdown, all these prizes are crap, you know? Like, all right, maybe a trip to London or whatever. But seriously, why would anyone want a goddamn fridge? And like, I get why my more mature friends would want one now. I would still want the car or the trip to London. I would still want something that would have been a good like present if I had gotten it that way.
Okay, yeah.
Now, as I understand it, uh, you can actually just take money that is worth the amount of the prize.
I know
Like
at
you
one
don't have
point
to
you
have
could, yeah.
like you don't have to take a refrigerator. You can take the worth of the refrigerator.
Yeah. Which is probably better off for you because, you owe income tax on this shit. So if you take the refrigerator, you have the item, but you don't have the money you need to pay the income tax on it.
Yep. Oh, that can't be right.
Huh.
Well, I'm still reading up on Double Dare and hope because I'm pretty sure that the thing I'm thinking of was inspired by Double Dare. And I'm hoping that they will have like, oh, here are shows inspired by Double Dare, or here's shows connected to it or something. Actually, IMDb has a connections tab, so I might be able to find it that way. But I don't know. Well, they're still listing this Finders Keepers, but that's definitely not it.
Will you shut up?
Maybe I'm thinking of Funhouse. I don't know, but yeah. Yep. Slime. I mean, like as much as Slime came from You Can't Do That on Television, Nickelodeon really embraced it with Double Dare. And I recently looked into its origin, like why was slime even a thing? And originally, like there was a sketch for the local Canadian version of You Can't Do That on Television before Nickelodeon bought it. And like one of the child actors was going to have something dumped on her head. And like they had to delay the filming for whatever reason, and people forgot the stuff that was in the bucket like over the weekend or whatever, and it turned rancid. They still dumped it over her head.
Ah,
Yeah, and like then they started like apparently the segment got a good reception, so they started refining a less noxious version of this slime, but it got its origin in like rotted food, basically.
oh, jeez.
Yeah, but yeah. But I mean, as I gather it, a lot of it's like water and gelatin, and I think there's some flour in there. I'm not sure, but it just looks like green oatmeal, basically slopping onto someone's head.
Catch
Like the whole
my
thing, for those of you who don't know, You Can't Do That on Television. There were two things you didn't want to say. Because if someone asked you a question and you didn't know the answer, you don't want to say, I don't know. Because anyone on You Can't Do That on Television who says, I don't know, gets green slime dumped on their head. Now, if you say the word water or wash or wet or anything like that, I'm not sure if H2O will do it, you'll get water dumped on your head.
All right.
So you don't want to say either of those two things. Now, as I understand it, the kids on the show actually wanted to get slimed or have water dumped on them because it meant extra money on their paycheck. Apparently, every dumping of water, I think it was $75, maybe 50. I remember for sure though that it was $150 to get slimed. So they didn't mind so much getting slimed. Now, also, as much as it looks spontaneous when it happens, they actually have to cut away from the kids and put down all kinds of mats to protect the set so that when they actually dump the slime on the kid, it won't destroy the set at the same time. But apparently, because I saw an interview with some of the cast more recently, and they're like, yeah, there's permanent green marks all over that set, and there's nothing you can do about it, short of like replacing the floor.
Oh, jeez.
You know, I hate to say it, some of the cast like they haven't aged very well. One of my favorite cast members, he just looks so I don't want to say old exactly, but he didn't like on the show he was this charismatic wacky kid that everyone loved. He was either your first or second favorite character. Everyone remembers Alistair, but he grew up to look like this sort of aging balding business dude, and like it just and he doesn't have that youthful bounce anymore. He seemed very subdued. So I was like really disappointed to see that. But Christine McGlade, aka Moose, she became like a motivational speaker or something, or a coach of some kind, and she does all of the You Can't Do That on Television convention-y stuff things, all of the appearances. She was basically the host of the show, and it's one of those like accidentally became that way because showed up with a friend of mine who was auditioning and they wanted me to audition too, and what do you know, I got the job kind of stories. You hear those
All
all
right.
the time, you know. I could
Oof.
info dump about this show for a long time. I love the crap out of it.
Moo.
Oh, and the opening credits were deliberately designed to look sort of Monty Python-esque as well. And you can see it. I mean, if you watch it, you can see, you're like, yeah, this is Canadian Python right here, but with kids.
Moo.
Yeah. Okay, let's see. To the IMDb machines to see if I can figure out what the frick game show I'm thinking of. Double Bear. There we are. So all topics, connections. There we are. Okay, featured in, followed by, follows, referenced in. No. Spin-off. No, that's a video game. Remade as Double Dare 2000. Fine. Spoofed of, version of. Yeah, no, I'm not seeing. I'm not seeing that connection. Damn it. Oh wow. Says here Dana Carvey was almost the host for Double Dare, but he withdrew from consideration because he got a part on Saturday Night Live.
Oh my.
Yeah. Dana Carvey as the host of Double Dare would have been fucking awesome. I mean, no kick against Mark Summers. He was a great host, but Dana Carvey in charge of Double Dare, I got literal goosebumps going on right now. I would watch the shit out of that.
I don't know. It sounds like something that could have been hosted by the church lady.
Well, I'm picturing more like, say, well, actually, his stand-up. I mean, what was that one he did about chopping broccoli? That song, she's chopping broccoli, you know, like that, where the more he sings it, the more indistinct he gets to the point where it's like, blah, 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 blah. And it's just, I don't know. I remember that. It was funny.
Daj okorostu.
Huh. Well, that's weird. Double Dare was created when Nabisco asked Nickelodeon for a show that they could advertise on, like with Oreos and Fig Newtons, and they agreed a game show would work. But then Nabisco dropped out, and Nickelodeon said, "Fuck it, we're making it anyway." I bet Nabisco, like CEOs or whatever, they're kicking themselves, going, "Damn it," because that was such a successful show.
Oh, wait a minute. Wait a minute.
Huh.
Something I saw not too
I didn't
long
know
ago.
that. Mark Summers was a magician, and that's why he got picked. Because they were like, he could talk to adults and children without being like all condescending and shit. Huh. And he has OCD. Who knew? Oh, that explains it. The blue side was added in 1988 when the show emulated the Finders Keepers team colors. That explains why I remember red and blue. Okay. Okay. There we go.
Moo?
Well, it was just bugging me because I knew I remember red and blue uniforms. I didn't know. Well, whatever. Not the point. Let's see. Yeah. So this dare double dare trivia is actually kind of interesting to me. Some of it's pretty interesting. It's hard to imagine Double Dare being any good as a board game, but apparently they made one. Because I mean, like a whole huge aspect of the show was getting messy. I mean, most of what the kids were made to do, like, find the flag that's in this swimming pool full of oatmeal kind of stuff, or they had this funky like obstacle course jungle gym thing, and like it ended by going down a slide that looks like a tongue that's covered in green slime, that kind of thing.
Moo.
So, I mean, as a board game, either it comes with a lot of slop that your parents don't want you slopping around, or it's not really going to be nearly as good as the show, is it?
Right.
I'm just saying.
And it is full of poo poo. Full
That's
of
funny.
poo.
Mark Summers was given a strict directive by Nickelodeon not to mention his age. He was 34 when he started as host, but case studies with viewers had most people thinking he was 24. He did read young. Like, seriously, he looked like he could have been in his early 20s. He really did. Mark Summers.
Okay. I'll take your word for it.
Yeah. Oh, wow. That's a lot of commuting.
Oh.
But yeah, says here the first 3 seasons of the show were taped in Philadelphia. The producers picked it over New York City and Los Angeles due to the lower production costs. Mark Summers flew in from Los Angeles to Philadelphia for tapings, with most of the production crew coming in from New York City. Only a handful of people working on the show, such as John Harvey, resided in Philadelphia. That's kind of crazy pants. I hope they did like a couple of months worth of filming before he went back, not just like a show a week. You know?
Boy, that would have been some commuting.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
I remember that shit.
But I mean, like, there's this show that I was enjoying for a while until it got kind of shit when the original creator left. The Goldbergs. It's set in the 80s. It's that show where it always takes place, like it's January 23rd, 1980 something. And all these people on like IMDb or whatever try to figure out what year 1980 something was by all the stuff that these people encountered. But I was watching it knowing that what they meant was this is going to be a hybrid of all of the 80s, what you're about to see. It's 1980 something, you know? And so, like, it turns out that the guy who created the show went to school with a bunch of people who would later become, if not famous, at least kind of prominent or something. They would have their 15 minutes. And one of those things was some of his classmates were chosen to be on Double Dare, even though he auditioned. Right. And this was the show where, like, a lot of it was inspired by the video, like, this kid took with his camera when he was young. And so, but at the end of the show, they'd show you footage that was emulated on the show itself in that episode. And on the episode with the Double Dare audition, they showed footage from that episode of Double Dare that those classmates of his were on. And it turns out that those same people as adults appeared on the show as like the parents of, I think, themselves or something, you know?
Okay.
So it's interesting. Also, David Sirota, the writer, is another one. Like, he, as a child, features as a character on the show. And I've seen interviews with the real David Sirota. He's pretty cool. I like what he has to say, and him reacting to the Goldbergs. It's kind of interesting.
There's a kitty over here.
One thing that's kind of funny, like, there were, I want to say it was 3 kids in the household, and like all 3 of them were brothers. But the producers were like, we gotta throw a sister in the mix somewhere. So the oldest sibling is a sister, and like they interviewed the actual brothers, and they're like, so what do you think about having your character turned into a girl? And all of them are like, look, we're almost nothing like our character on the show, so who gives a fuck?
All right. Somebody is being quiet.
No, Mage left.
I'm speaking of a kitty.
Actually, I'm not sure. Oh, there's Xander. He's over there on that chair. Oh, cute little kitty. I think there's too many clouds for there to be a sunbeam at the moment, or at least the clouds that are there are in the wrong place. Right. Anyway, yeah.
I have to
So
wonder where those sounds came from. Where did somebody get the idea to roll an R and give us German?
yeah, when I think of rolling R's, I do not think of German. When I think of gagging, hacking, or spitting, I think of German and French, but I not rolling R's. When I think of rolling R's, I tend to think of things like Spanish or like some Italian as well.
Moo.
But German does not make me think rolling R's. German makes me think, like some of like some of the stuff you hear in Yiddish.
Well, Yiddish is German admixed with Hebrew.
Well, that's the point, though. I mean, when I think of rolling your R's, I don't think of German. Rutabaga, ruffles have ridges. You know that.
I remember that ad campaign.
I don't know. Maybe that was the ad that made me think rutabaga is a very funny word. But then again, it is a funny word unto itself. So
Rutabagas are kind of tasty.
wouldn't know, but I just think it's a very funny word. It's funny. Like I didn't realize how many different words we have for things between the United States and Britain. But I had no idea they didn't know what a rutabaga was. I had someone, I think it might have been Critical Cripple, is saying to me like what the hell's a rutabaga? I looked it up. Apparently they call rutabagas Swedes.
Oh,
I did. It's kind of like we have eggplants, they have aubergines. That
yes.
one's weird. I mean, I don't grok that one. Like where do these different names come from, and why aren't we using the same ones?
And it's all kinds of fun when you go to a grocery store and you intentionally use the British names for things.
Yeah, you just wish you were British.
Yeah, not necessarily.
The way you talk, you insist on British phrasing. You do.
Geste Petrosto Bekanaye Belogopotianta Yegarasede Petrosta.
Sure. But I mean, I'm not wrong about this one. You do seem to wish you were British when it comes to speech because you're in hospital. Yeah. I bet you spell it catsup instead of ketchup too, don't you?
No. I spell it CRAP.
Uh-huh. Seriously though, I'm just saying.
Can't stand the stuff.
And yet, I bet if you were forced to write the word, you'd write it the snooty way. Prove me wrong?
I don't know. I really don't. I haven't written the word in I don't know how long.
Well, I always thought it was kind of funny. I'm like, I kind of prefer my cats on the ground, but whatever. Man, imagine if cats could fly. That would be a scary ass world, wouldn't it?
Eek.
Better than dogs, though. Now, here's a question. If cats could fly, would it be like Superman or would they have wings?
I could just see the hexapods.
No, but I'm serious. Like if you were picturing flying cats, like someone said, okay, picture a scenario with flying cats, and before they describe what sort of flying cats, are we just picturing they fly like Superman? That's just it. They're a cat that's flying, or do they have wings?
Oh no, I'm saying I could see them with wings, with four legs and wings.
Now, are they bat wings, bird wings? What kind of wings?
Satan wings.
So probably bat wings then.
Yeah.
Hmm. I don't know. I'd love to see like you got flying squirrels. How about a flying cat? Like webbing between each limb.
That would be interesting.
Ah, gosh, what's the temperature out there? Oh, 35, bikini weather.
Jeez, that's a nice. Over here, it's mid 50s.
Oh, well, I mean, like, seriously, at what did I say? It was 35. I can just tie a hoodie around my waist and wear the leather jacket out. I don't have to bundle up anymore. Oh, the sun's coming out. There's a sunbeam for Xander to be in. Where the heck's your sister, Xander? I don't see Columbia. She's probably behind the couch. She's always behind the couch when I can't find her, or under the bed.
I'd like to see it warm up here.
Well,
Mid
in
80s
what,
would
in
be
what
nice.
way would that be visual?
Huh?
I said, in what way would that be visual? You said you'd like to see it warm up. How would you see it warm up?
Everything starts smoldering.
It turns out that Columbia was under the bed. This has been a kitty update.
The more you know.
So, all right. We've been at this for a few minutes. I'm starting to get worn out.
Desde da batalla agradece de Peplajano. What do we got here?
Well,
Oh
also,
my,
like,
we've been going for 3 hours.
and is anybody watching at all?
It says there's one person watching. That's probably me.
All right. Well, bang a gong. I'll catch you later.
Well, you have fun, sweetness.
I
And
will.
I think I'm going to go bye-bye as well. I mean, eventually I've got to clean this studio.
Well, I wish you the best of luck in that endeavor.
Oh,
Later.
boy. Take care, sweetie. And okay, to everyone, I want to thank everybody who's here, and I want to thank everybody who's not here. You guys keep me going, and I hate the lot of you for it. Oh my, oh my. Yeah, I've got stuff all over the floor in here, and I think it's time to clean up a little bit. And everybody take care and be good and have fun and stuff like that. Um, okay. Thanks a lot, troops. See you on the other side.